Have you ever opened a Python project and just felt overwhelmed by all the different files and folders? Or maybe you've wondered how you can organize your own code so it doesn't turn into one giant messy script. Well, you're in exactly the right place. In this explainer, we're going to make you an absolute master of Python's fundamental building blocks, modules.
So we're going to go on what I like to call a builder's journey. First, we'll lay the foundation, really understanding what modules are. Then we'll open up the toolkit and see all the cool stuff Python gives you for free. After that, you'll get the blueprint for making your own. We'll set up our workshop with all the best practices, and finally, we'll get into the really high-level architecture of modular design.
Okay, let's dive right in. First things first, right? We have to lay a solid foundation. So what exactly is a module? And why should you even care? Why is it so crucial for writing clean, reusable code?
Let's just demystify this right now. A module is just a Python file, a file ending in .py. That's it. Seriously. Think of it like a container. Instead of jamming all of your functions, classes, and variables into one massive, unreadable file, you organize related code into its own module. This keeps everything clean, easy to find, and, most importantly, reusable. It's the difference between a tidy workshop and a chaotic pile of tools.
Now, this is where it gets interesting, because you see how these things build on each other. A module is that single file. A package, that's just a folder for your files, a way to group them together. And a library is a whole collection of these folders and files, all designed to do a specific job. Think of a library like NumPy for data science or Django for web development. They're just huge, well-organized collections of packages and modules.
So, when you type import math, what's actually happening behind the scenes? Well, it's not magic, it's a very specific search order. First, Python checks a little cache to see if you've already imported it. Super efficient. If not, it looks through all the built-in modules that come with Python, and if it's still not there, it goes through a list of directories called sys.path. If it searches all those places and comes up empty, that's when you get that dreaded module not found error.
And you've got three main ways to bring that code in. You can do a plain import math, which brings in the whole module, and then you'd use it like math.square root. Or you can be more specific with from datetime import date, which pulls just the date object out, so you can use it directly. And then there's the super common one, import numpy as np. This brings in the whole library, but gives it a shorter nickname or alias, which saves you a lot of typing. Now, this is one of those concepts that feels like a secret handshake for Python developers. It solves a huge problem. How can a single file be both a reusable library and a script you can run? The magic is in this special variable called _name. When you run a file directly from the command line, Python sets its _name to the string _main. But if you import that same file into another script, its _name becomes its file name. This lets you write a little block of code that only executes when the file is run directly. It's brilliant.
All right, foundation is set. Let's move on to the fun part, the tools. Python has this philosophy called batteries included, which basically means it comes with this massive standard library packed with pre-built modules for just about anything you can think of.
And here are some of the all-stars. The OS module lets you talk to the operating system, create folders, check file paths, that kind of thing. Math gives you all the heavy-duty math functions. Datetime is your best friend for anything involving dates and times. And R is for regular expressions, which is a super powerful way to find patterns in text. And trust me, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
So let's make this real. Imagine you need to write a script that cleans up log files every day. Well, you could use the OS module to programmatically create a new folder, maybe with today's date in the name. Then you could use another module called shutil, which is fantastic for high-level file operations, to move a specific log file into that new directory. Just a couple lines of Python, and you've automated a boring task.
Okay, so we've seen Python's tools. Now it's our turn. Let's grab the blueprint and become the creators. In this section, we're going to learn how to build our very own custom modules and packages, so we can turn our code into reusable components.
And you're not going to believe how simple this is. Step 1, create a .py file. Step 2, put some Python code in it, like a function. Step 3, in a different file, just import your new module and use the function. That's it! You've just made a reusable module. It really is that easy to get started.
But what happens when your project gets bigger? You want to group related modules together, and that's where packages come in. You just create a directory, and inside it you put a special file called __init__py. That file can even be empty, but its presence tells Python, hey, this folder isn't just a folder, it's a package. This lets you organize your project into logical parts, like separating your data models from your user interface views.
So, we have the parts, and we have the blueprint. Now it's time to actually assemble everything in our workshop. And that means learning the best practices for putting together a real-world Python project that won't fall apart.
Now, inside your packages, you've got two main ways to import stuff. Absolute imports are explicit. They spell out the full path right from the top of your project. These are usually the best choice because there's no confusion about where something is coming from. Relative imports use dots to say from the same folder or from the folder above. They can be useful, but they can also make your code a little more brittle if you decide to move files around later.
But here's the best part. Your workshop isn't limited to just your own tools. The Python Package Index, or PyPI, is this massive online repository of open-source libraries. If you need to do something, anything, from web requests to machine learning, I guarantee someone has built a powerful library for it on PyPI. You can install it with one simple command, and suddenly you have access to incredible tools built by the entire Python community.
All right, we've gone from builder to architect. This last section is all about thinking at a much higher level. Now that our workshop is set up, what are the architectural blueprints we need to follow to build truly robust systems? And more importantly, how do we avoid those sneaky problems that can bring a huge application to its knees?
So, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen this error? It's one of the most confusing, most frustrating errors in all of Python. It often works just fine on your own computer, and then everything explodes when you deploy it. What is going on here?
This quote, it just nails it. This isn't some simple bug. It is a deep, deep architectural flaw. This exact problem became a huge crisis for Instagram's engineering team as their app got bigger and bigger. It just goes to show you that how you structure your imports isn't some minor detail. It is a critical architectural decision. A circular import is basically a symptom of a design problem. Two modules that are so tangled up that they both depend on each other, creating a deadlock. So here are the big pitfalls to watch out for. That circular import, where A needs B and B needs A, the only fix is to refactor. Pull out the shared code into a third module. Next, naming conflicts. Don't name your file math.py. You'll break the built-in math module for your whole project. And please, please, please avoid from module import star. It's like dumping your entire toolbox on the floor just to find one screwdriver. It pollutes your namespace, and you have no idea where anything is coming from, which makes debugging a nightmare.
The path to clean, beautiful architecture really follows these simple rules. Each module should do one thing, and do it well. Group related modules into packages. Almost always, you should use clear absolute imports. And always use that if __name __equals __main block to keep your reusable logic separate from the code that runs the script.
And to help you really lock all this in, think about these common interview questions. If you can confidently explain the difference between a module and a package, or walk someone through the import search path, or explain how you'd fix a circular import, you're demonstrating a really solid understanding of how Python works.
So, let's just recap our builder's journey. Modules are files. Packages are directories. The import system isn't magic, it's a predictable search. That name equals main trick is your key to making dual-use files. And circular imports, they're not just bugs, they are serious architectural flaws that you now know how to spot and avoid.
And really, that's the whole point. By mastering these ideas, you've leveled up. You're no longer just writing lines of code, you are architecting software. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey. Now I'm curious, what complex Python topic should we break down together next? Let me know.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Naveen Tech Hub for practical AI.